They're saying that Meek Mill sounded like he was in distress. P. Diddy was calling him daddy. He was saying, take this D, take this D. He said, ass nigga. And you heard the balls clapping. And I'm thinking, this is a lot of detail. This is a lot of detail. This cannot be true until I heard the audio.
So sit back and relax. That's scary. Melanie P. Talk to him. With Melanie P. That's scary with Melanie P.
Welcome to another episode of the That's Scary with Melanie P podcast. I'll leave y'all for 1 week to go out of town for work, and you guys have the feds go over to P. Diddy's house. You guys, welcome to another episode. You guys, before I get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So like I said, I have been MIA over the past week because I was out of town, and all I heard about on the news while I was out of town was P. Diddy, P. Diddy, P. Diddy. So just when you think it can't get any worse, and just when you think the coast is clear, here come the feds and the helicopters, y'all. I started doing some research about P. Diddy, and it led me down a complete spiral. And I think I found the answer to how we got here, but we're still here. So if you have been under a rock, you know that this past Monday, the feds infiltrated 3 of P. Diddy's homes. Now, what were they looking for, you might ask? I've heard 2 different theories. On one hand, I've heard that they were looking for evidence to help provide evidence for the Little Rod case. But on the whole other end of the spectrum, I heard that they are on P. Diddy's side, and the conspiracy theorists are saying that these people are just going to his home to actually destroy evidence because it's all about the Illuminati, and they're here just to help P. Diddy versus, hurt him. I don't know, but I will say this. Here are my first thoughts before I get into it. My first thought is that I feel very, very sad, right? And I know, unpopular opinion, I said this about R. Kelly. It truly makes me feel sad to see any successful Black man fuck up his career over some bullshit, because at the end of the day, we are still trying to crawl up to these certain spots in the world. And when we have people who get and reach those certain spots in the world, we don't want to have dumb shit like this make them lose their spot, right? And my second thought was sex. My second thought was this. What kind of freaky deaky sex shit are you doing that makes you want to do this? So let me explain. The basis of what P. Diddy, is doing is like sex trafficking, SA, as we have to say here on the tube, underage girls, sex with men, sex with women, sex with multiples, sex with prostitutes, all types of just crazy stuff. And it's like, I try to put myself in the mindset of someone who is so rich and has so much access that regular degular or even regular degular on 10 ain't enough. Having sex with all the people ain't enough. Having sex with the baddest women ain't enough. Having missionary from the back on top, ain't enough. Let me add some people. Let me add some different ages. Let me pay for some people. let me get a man, a woman, this and that. Like, how do you get there? That's my question in my head. Like, I keep trying to put myself in the position of that headspace, because I think about, we all can point the finger, and I'm quite certain that the average person, I'm assuming, wouldn't take it this far. But then the average person in their lifetime isn't going to have this level of access, this level of money, this level of financial security. And really the key word here is access. So maybe my mind can't even fathom, if I had access to any and everything, would I get bored with just the regular degular and let me go to the regular degular times 100, right? So let's get started, y'all. I started doing some research, right? Because I wanted to figure out, okay, P. Diddy, from my age group, I remember Bad Boy, I remember, Mace, I remember Jodeci maybe, whatever. And I'm thinking, how did we get here? So I started doing some research, and it landed me all the way back to Clive Davis. Clive Davis. Now, I have to say some shit, y'all. History just tells on itself. If you trace anything back to the root, it's always some old white man at the bottom or at the beginning of where the bullshit starts, right? So Clive Davis is a big time industry record producer, whoever. Whitney Houston, everybody, he's had everybody. He was the name of the industry at the time. He goes out and he seeks Andre Harrell. Now, if you don't know, Andre Harrell was the president or the person of Uptown Records. Okay. What I didn't know is that Andre Harrell, some people says that he was gay, and he got his start by doing gay acts with Clive Davis, allegedly. He was a young man in the industry. He wanted to get fame. He wanted to get status. He wanted to be able to be this hot name in the industry. Somehow he runs across Clive Davis. Clive Davis says, you know what? If you suck, kiss, do what I want you to do, here you go. Andre Harrell sucks, fucks, does all this stuff. And then he becomes this big guy in the industry. Fast forward, here comes P. Diddy, young guy at Howard University, HBCU, in DC. He has an internship with Andre Harrell and Uptown Records. This is a man, P. Diddy, with no experience in the industry, but somehow connects with Andre Harrell. Andre Harrell has a summer internship with him, and that makes Andre Harrell want him. Period. Hard stop. Andre Harrell allegedly has been groomed by Clive Davis. He fast forward, and now he's basically ultimately allegedly grooming Sean P. Diddy Combs with Uptown Records. Sean P. Diddy Combs interns at Uptown Records, and he climbs the label's ranks, and he's promoted with little to no experience as director of A&R and scouting. Now, you might ask the question that I did. How could this guy go from intern to director of A&R and scouting? What did he have to do to get that title? Allegedly, the streets are saying that he had to do the same thing that Andre Harrell did to Clive Davis. I was doing a lot of research, y'all, and there's a lot of homosexuality in the industry. Now, first of all, let me just make this clear. I love the LGBTQ community. Be who you are. That's great. But be who you are loud and proud. And here's the thing I think that's messing us up. I've said this before, in the Black community, we are the most judgmental community. And I feel like one thing that other communities have on us is that they're more open to, like, you know, the LGBTQ community. And I feel like we're still trying to get there. In the research, it seems like, you know, men on men sex acts are very prominent, very normal in the industry. So this all stems from a lawsuit from Little Rod. If you don't know, Little Rod worked with P. Diddy on the Love album, and he's now saying that he never really got fully paid for that, on top of the fact that he was groped, groomed, and everything in between while he worked with Diddy. Now, here is my thing. What I don't get is, you have seen Bill Cosby, you have seen R. Kelly, you have seen Epstein and Epstein and Berenstain Bears and whoever else get in trouble for doing dumbass sex shit. Why do you think that you were invincible? So I started doing more digging. Allegedly, he has continuously gotten away with all types of crazy shit in the industry. He's gotten away with allegedly not P. Diddy, but Tupac's death. He's gotten away allegedly with Kim Porter. He's gotten away allegedly with Biggie. He's gotten away allegedly with blowing up some man's car. He's gotten away allegedly with Heavy D's death. He's gotten away allegedly with Shine and that whole, you know, having him take the jail sentence and the time for that whole situation, having the gun with him and Jennifer Lopez. So this might be a man who thinks that he is invincible, but you would be an idiot to think that you are totally invincible and free of, you know, this bullshit. First of all, you're a black man, and you know that black men have it 10 times harder than any other race when it comes to stuff. So I was looking back on it, and I saw how, you know, Epstein, all this sex trafficking bullshit he had around him, and he killed himself, and now his wife is doing the time. A lot of people have said, you know, where is Jay-Z? Where is DJ Khaled? Like, where are all these people who would attend his all-white party, who would attend, you know, all the little Diddy's freak-offs? Where are those people? Why are they not coming up in the defense of this man? Now, what I have ascertained from all of this is that where there is smoke, there is fire. He kind of got away with the whole Cassie situation. You know, he paid a little whatever, but this, I just don't see him getting off freely in this situation. So Little Rod basically has he has this lawsuit, and he says, I have all the receipts. You didn't pay me, so I want money. I'm putting everybody. I'm putting Young Miami. I'm putting the Cuba Gooding Jr. I'm putting Usher. I'm putting everybody shit. I'm putting their name in the docket. Poor Usher. Here's the thing. I don't really feel like, on one hand, that the Jay-Z's of the world and the DJ Khaled's of the world need to include their name in anything. I was thinking about the Quiet on the Set documentary that dropped about all the perverts that worked at Nickelodeon. And one of the things that came to mind was the fact that when that man who sexually assaulted that young child over and over and over again, when he had a trial, I saw about 10 different people in the industry write letters on this man's behalf. This man had clearly molested and SA'd a young child that was in his care. And these white people came to his, his defense and said that they don't believe it. The child probably pressured him and teased him, everything. They wrote this stuff in a letter to the judge to get this man off. Now, unfortunately, I do feel like when it comes to, I just hate to throw race into it, but it's just a reality of things. I don't know if, I'm kind of torn because on one hand, I want us to kind of uplift and help each other no matter what, because they do it for them. But I understand if you don't, because you don't want your name, caught up in there. And then here's the thing. You can't come to someone's defense if you know for a fact that the shit is true. You can't implicate yourself and write a letter and say, hey, I've never seen Diddy do this. This is not in his character. He's a wholesome family man. I've never seen him have any kind of weird sex stuff. You can't really say that if it's not true. So I don't really fault the Jay-Z's of the world for not speaking up, just to be honest. Little Rod, he named Cuba Gooding Jr. And I'm like, this is not looking good. The evidence is lining up. Like, it literally just takes a simple YouTube search of P. Diddy and everything comes flowing out. Cuba Gooding Jr. is named in this lawsuit, and Cuba Gooding Jr. already has a court case previously where I think he didn't get time, but he had like probation or something like that, to where he was involved in some type of weird sex shit, right? A couple of years ago. You ain't seen him in no movies ever since. If you do a simple YouTube search and put P. Diddy, Cuba Gooding Jr., the pictures show up. The pictures of Cuba Gooding Jr., who ain't no rapper, ain't no singer. He is in the studio, hugged up on Little Rod. Now I'm thinking, why the hell would Cuba Gooding Jr. be in the studio with Little Rod? And now here he go. His name is popped up onto the lawsuit. Where there's smoke, there is fire. Basically, Little Rod was saying that P. Diddy was basically grooming him for Cuba Gooding Jr. And when that picture that I'm going to try to include here, when that picture is popped up and, it's a picture of P. Diddy and Cuba Gooding Jr. kind of like almost embracing. And then there's a picture of Cuba Gooding Jr. like almost like hovering over Little Rod. And I'm like, why are you here, sir? In the lawsuit, it said that Cuba Gooding Jr. was groping Little Rod. And I'm like, how do you think that you're going to just get away with stuff? You might get away with like the first 100 things, but you get careless and you're not God. You are a black man in the industry. Do you think that you'll be able just to take this to your grave? People want money. People see that Cassie got a quick payout. You don't think that that's going to empower other people to want to get that same payout that Cassie did? Then they also named Jennifer Lopez. Now, Jennifer Lopez, I'm not a fan. I'm going to tell you why. Because as soon as, the stove got hot, she said, fuck you N-words. I'm going back to Mark Anthony. I'm going back to Ben Affleck. I ain't got time for the gangster rap, whatever. She was named in the lawsuit for having the gun at the whole Shine and P. Diddy situation several years ago. She said, forget you niggas. I am out of here, honey. Prince Harry was in the lawsuit. Now, Prince Harry wasn't namely in the lawsuit, like saying that he actually did something to anybody or participated, but he was just named in the lawsuit as someone who would be at these parties and who could possibly be a part of P. Diddy's little freak shows. Now, I think I believe that Little Rod has some kind of affiliation to Young Miami. And it just makes me think, like, again, you're not invincible. Why would you think that Little Rod, who seemingly, based off what he said, did not want to participate, but you kept pushing and kept pushing and kept pushing? And did you not think that he would tell? You know what I'm saying? Again, like, money talks. I'm sorry. There is no way. Like, you're not my dad. You're not my brother. You're somebody I'm working for. And then you choose not to pay me my full total of what's due to me. And you think I'm not going to tell? You grope me. You try to groom me. You try to do sick stuff to me. And then on top of that, you don't pay me. You pay Cassie, but you don't pay me. You think I'm not going to try to get what's mine? You know? Now, I did wonder, I feel like if that was me, and I don't know if this is like against the law, I guess this will kind of be blackmail, but in an effort to not destroy this black man's life, I would probably blackmail him. Basically, you give me this amount of money or you're going to get a lawsuit, and I got all the names, dates, and times, and I have evidence. Which one you want to choose? And then I probably still pass this information on anonymously to somebody, right? I don't know if I would want to, if a lawsuit would be my first avenue. I think my first avenue would be bribery or blackmail, just to be honest. I put in my notes that, Epstein, he had some of the same sex trafficking allegations that he was convicted of, and he killed himself, and his wife is still doing her time. So at this moment, the feds was at P. Diddy's 3 properties, and they're basically collecting evidence, trying to get some kind of indictment, right? So it's not looking good. Honestly, if I could bet on it, there is something naive in me that feels like he is going to get away with this. And I hope that he learns from it. And I hope that these other people who are participating in these weird sex charades and sex trafficking bullshit, I hope that they learn from it. But it seems like everybody thinks that they are invincible and it won't be them. And I just don't understand. Like, we're in a culture right now where the light is coming to the dark. If they can come back and get poor Bill Cosby, poor blind Bill Cosby, and have him atone for his bullshit from back in the 60s and the 70s, you think that you in 2024 are going to be able to get away with it? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the part that's just like, that puzzles me. It puzzles me. And here's the thing. I feel like if that was me, I try to be like paying this, like, I don't know. I'll try to do whatever I could. I would get with a lawyer, tell them the truth, tell them what I think the evidence might be out there regarding me, and get some advice. Or I would start destroying all the evidence that I could to get ahead of it. Like, he got too careless. He got too comfortable, and he thought that he was invincible. Now, one of the crazy things in this whole story that was just very eye-opening was the Meek Mill of it all. So before I started doing research on this, I kind of knew and heard bits and pieces of it. I didn't know that there was actual audio. I did not know that there was actual audio, allegedly, of P. Diddy and Meek Mill having intercourse. Like, is it called intercourse? If you look on YouTube and just put P. Diddy Meek Mill, it'll actually pop up with P. Diddy's former bodyguard saying that one night P. Diddy had a party, allegedly. He spiked everybody's drink. The bodyguard himself was not, didn't drink, so he didn't feel the effects of whatever P. Diddy put in everybody's drink, allegedly. Long story short, he happens to hear Meek Mill and P. Diddy having sex behind a closed door. Now, my first thought about this was that this is just alleged, child. This ain't happen. I'm sure this did not happen. Meek Mill. I used to rhyme like this and chime like. There's no way that this dude from Philadelphia was having his, butt ripped open by P. Diddy. I just don't believe it. But then I heard the tape. And here's the thing. When you do a YouTube search about P. Diddy and Meek Mill, the way that people on YouTube are describing the act that's probably the worst of it all. People are describing the act of, they're saying that Meek Mill sounded like he was in distress. P. Diddy was calling him daddy. He was saying, take this D, take this D. Ugh. He said, fuck this ass, nigga. And you heard the balls clapping. And I'm thinking, this is a lot of detail. This is a lot of detail. This cannot be true. Until I heard the audio. Now, to me, Meek Mill did not sound like he was in distress. They're saying that Meek Mill basically was drugged and P. Diddy took advantage of him, and that's why he sounded like in the audio that he's under distress. When I heard the audio, he did not sound like he was in distress to me. He sounded like he was enjoying it. It makes me just so sad because I feel like being a black man in the rap game and in the music industry is not always the easiest thing to come out as a gay man. And it could be very detrimental to your career. And I feel like it's been very detrimental to Meek Mill's career. His last album flopped. You haven't heard any new music from him lately. And when this all came out, when the audio came out, he started having like these unhinged messages on Twitter. Just like, and then it was so weird because if you look at the messages or the post on Twitter from Meek Mill, it's always LOL at the end. Like, what? You're like 40 years old. Why are you putting LOL at the end? Like, people are calling you gay and you're saying you're not gay and how, a gay man can never do this to you and whatever, LOL. Like that you putting LOL in lowercase letters at the end of every tweet further proves that you did this shit. But then if you weren't sure if he actually participated in this sex act with Diddy, he puts it in a song. The same way that R. Kelly kind of alluded to some of his, sexual acts and sexual deviancies, he put it in his music. So did Meek Mill. In one of his lines, he put, I hope they forgive me for what I did with Diddy. He said it twice. It makes me sad because I feel like, for him to put that in his song, there has to be some kind of trauma associated with the fact that he thought that if he slept with Diddy and let Diddy sleep with him, this would elevate his career, and now it's coming right back to bite him. It's just so sad. It's just so sad to me. And here's the thing, it's nothing wrong with, be with and love who you want to. But in these situations, I don't know if it's a situation of, hey, yes, I'm gay, or I'm more so desperate to be put on in the industry and get my family, put on and, not be poor anymore. I don't even know if those are two different things. I don't know. I really don't know. To further indict yourself, it's one thing to have, some type of outlandish sex preference maybe that you don't want people to know, but it's another thing to like film it and provide your own evidence. And that's where these sick people get off. Like, they not only want to do these things, they want to film it. They're saying allegedly that he has tapes of him having sex with men and women and allegedly underage people. Also, he likes to film other people having intercourse, sometimes forceful intercourse. I think that the whole world of being a freak and being a sexually free person can just be so scary to me. Could you imagine a world where P. Diddy is facing life in prison? Like, people like myself who grew up in the 90s, right? P. Diddy is of our culture. And the thought that when I'm 50, when I'm 60, when I'm 45, P. Diddy could be in jail. That is just crazy. And here's the thing, even Young Miami, which I just don't understand, she's even involved in this. And it makes me look at, I'm going to do a separate video about this whole city girl culture. It's not cool. It's not cool. It is not cool. And I'm tired of it. I kind of spoke to this a little bit in my previous video about the whole 50-50 thing. But it's not cool, and it's gone too far. And dare I say, as I sit here being an independent woman, drinking my wine in my studio, this whole feminism, and I hate to sound like Candace Owens, but this whole feminism movement has gone a little bit too far in certain areas. It's almost sounding like prostitution, glorified prostitution. And it's a bit much. It really, really is. I just think about the pictures of black people when they had to wear, like when black men went out wearing tuxedos and black women had these dresses on and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not saying go back that far, but there seemed to be a little bit more respect for women, respect for ourselves back then. And I hate to be the person that's saying, well, back then, because I'm sure that back then had its own issues. But I feel like we were kind of in a better space back then. Like, I'm not going to sit up here and be a hypocrite and say that I don't have Yams on my Spotify and I don't have, Sexy Red songs on my Spotify. But again, I'm a grown woman and I'm not being influenced by my daily choices based on what Sexy Red or what Young Miami is teaching and saying. But I have a teenage daughter, and the women, I have a baby daughter. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I don't want them growing up in a world where their idols and are the Sexy Red and the city girls of the world. I feel like you can give city girl energy with a little bit more class. And here's someone that comes to mind. Jasmine Sullivan. She gives city girls, but to me in a more classier way, right? I just don't, it's going too far. It's going too far. Sometimes, and this is horrible what I'm going to say, but sometimes when you merge communities and merge these cultures, it can go too far. And by that, I mean, I feel like when, and let me be clear, I don't want segregation, but I feel like back when there was a little bit more segregation, black people had a little bit more self-respect. I feel like now we're just doing what we see other people doing. And it's just very scary. And I feel it's almost like a mutation of the world and of our culture. It's like everything is just a mutation. I don't like it. Anyway, at this moment, P. Diddy is currently in Miami with Stevie J, who is also in the lawsuit with Little Rod, and it's not looking good. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what to anticipate, but I will keep coming to you with my thoughts on this P. Diddy thing. Again, To sum this up, I do feel like P. Diddy was groomed by Andre Harrell, who was groomed by Clive Davis, and now P. Diddy is just doing to others what was done to him, in the same way that, you know, R. Kelly was molested and now he became the molester. It's just a horrible, sick cycle. And the rest is yet to come. I want to hear your opinion. I want to hear if you feel like, you know, P. Diddy was groomed by Andre Harrell. I want to hear if you feel like Black people were better off when we had more of a community, for lack of better words. I want to hear your thoughts on Kim Porter. I read that allegedly Kim Porter has or had tapes of Andre Harrell and P. Diddy. And do you see the pattern here? Like, everyone, including his own artist, everybody who attaches themselves to P. Diddy, it never turns out good. I mean, look at Young Miami. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you got a few bags and stuff, but girl, you could have bought your own bags. And what did you have to do for them bags? Like, you didn't need P. Diddy for your podcast. You didn't need P. Diddy for, Elevation. You didn't need P. Diddy. And this is why I say y'all need to mess with JT, because she is on her thing. She has not letting Young Miami's, social climbing BS sway her from what her goal is. I don't know. Anyway, guys, listen, I am back from traveling, and you will see several more videos from me this week. Make sure that you hit that follow button and that subscribe button, and you share the content, and I will see you on the next episode.